we have to open the other ones first before we adjourn?
I would think you should.
Yes, so they don't have to republish.
Just how do you know everybody wants to, because people, have you asked these people if they want to be adjourned?
Okay, wait, Ryan, I don't know if we're leaving yet. Okay, this is 8 Clayton Drive, subject property located east side of Clayton Drive. 252 feet south of King Terrace, in the village of Spring Valley, and is in R1A zone. The property is designated town environmental tax map as section 50.70, block 1, lot 44. The applicant is proposing a 2-family detached dwelling. Requested variances are as follows. Minimum lot area, 8,500 square feet required, 10,074 square feet is proposed. Lot width, 80 feet required, 43.03 feet provided. Front yard, 25 feet required, 47.0 feet provided. Side yard, 50 feet required, 11.2 feet provided. Total side yard, 30 feet required, 26.2 feet provided. Maximum building height, 35 feet required. Does not appear to need a height variance. Street frontage, 70 feet required, 30 feet provided with reduction. Minimum lot area is 6,819 square feet. Floor area ratio 0.96 feet. Variance required for parking in front yard of all required public notices mandated by state and local law being complied with. Madam Secretary?
Yes, they have.
Motion to open the public hearing?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's now open. Ryan?
All right, yeah, I have extra, Ryan Carmen for the applicant, I have extra copies of the maps for board members that haven't had the chance to see it. This is, I guess as you can see, an irregularly shaped lot. Not surprising that variances are required given the contours of the lot. Given the limitations that we do have in terms of how the lot is laid out, we've done our best. This is a use which is permitted by right in the zone, in the R1A zone. And while we do fall short in some respects, I think the questions for the board is whether this is going to change the a particular character of the neighborhood there on Stonehouse and Clayton and Trumper, which is a replete with a two-family home, so it will not do that. Architecturally itself, I think the house is interesting. It's been designed to be an asset to the neighborhood. We provide on-site parking, will comply with zero net runoff. So in the absence of any significant off-site impacts and applying the balancing test, I don't think that there is any detriment to the neighborhood of any consequence whatsoever. The benefit is the applicant obviously being able to build in a yield which is consistent with the property. And if you were not to account for any deductions at all, the lot would in fact be oversized by more than 1,500 square feet. So I would invite any comment and feedback from the board. I realize that the hour is late, but with respect to the legal standards that attend to what it is you need to look at, this is consistent with neighborhood character, and there would be nothing in the record that would suggest adverse off-site impacts that aren't mitigated. Very odd-shaped lot, and so therefore it's obviously no surprise that on a lot like this you're going to wind up running into some variances, just because with the lot being so narrow at the front, so wide in the rear, and being triangular shaped like that, or what is it? 1, 2, 3.
Looks like a slice of pizza.
Yeah, I mean what's interesting. I guess this is one of those things they put on those tests in high school. It has 4 sides, so I guess it is a a quadrilogram or whatever that is.
Do I actually see a car in the garage?
Well, technically it has 2 fronts also.
Yeah, it's a strange lot, and I think that from the applicant has done the best they can with the lot as they found it.
Yeah, I said, the front page. Car.
Nice car.
Not included. Car not included.
Any other comments?
I have nothing further.
Okay, is there anybody from the public still left? Brief. Okay.
I, Stephen White, do solemnly affirm and attest that the testimony I'm about to give is the truth to the best of my ability and knowledge. Stephen White, 10 Garden Place.
Be careful, be careful. Number Dutch, it's missing number Dutch. Oh yeah, sorry.
It's all right. So I see an FOR, it says of 0.96 feet, but it doesn't say what the requirement is. Is that in exceeding what the requirement is? Yeah, it's a question. It's not clear from what's listed on the agenda if 0.96 feet is a variance required, and
According to the bulk table, it's 0.65, they're not exceeding anything.
well,
You're talking about.
is 0.96 more than 0.65?
FAR is 26.5, and that's what they're showing
It's
on
probably a
both.
typo or a mistake, whatever.
Someone referenced reductions, so there may be a recalculation.
Oh,
It's driving up your FAR based on a lot area deduction. You're taking because of floodplain, so I think that Mr. might have represented a deduction.
Well, your
which
bulk
might-
table,
That might answer Mr. White's question.
the bulk table, it says 0.65, it says 0.65, so that would have to be modified.
But when you refer to the deductions, my assumption is that what it sounds like to me is you, the village, updated that after the submission that we made and told us that that was the variance that's required, because you determined the variance is not us.
Unfortunately, Building Inspector Booker is
What's
not
Mr. Booker
here to
say?
answer that. However, if this is approved, I would make a condition that your bulk table be amended to show that the floor area ratio you're proposing, because the deductions would obviously affect your floor area ratio, so it wouldn't be 0.65, it would be 0.96. But sitting here without Walter, I can't say that it's 0.96.
I'm erring, I think that if that's the way the notice was prepared, someone obviously chose to prepare it that way, and the board should err on the side of caution.
Yeah, it looks like 30%.
So they're going, we're going to
According to
assume
this.
that it's 0.96, Mr. White.
0.96 and 0.65 being what's allowed, so they are required to get a FAR variance, a pretty significant one. And, I'm just wondering, I understand it's an odd-shaped lot, but I'm just wondering, is there a way to build a building, an acceptable building that's within the FAR requirements of the village? And so it doesn't seem to be, to me, that there's any, it doesn't seem to me to be that the burden is being caused by so much by the lot as by the developer wanting to build up to the maximum they can get for a self-imposed burden there. So I think that us being presented as being a burden due to the unusual shape of the lot, it's quite possible that the majority of this burden is actually due to the self-imposed and has nothing to do with the shape of the lot. The other variance is also probably there wouldn't be any barrier to designing a building which conforms to the zoning rules and be perfectly acceptable. And so there is not in this situation, it does not appear to be any compelling reason why they couldn't have proposed something that didn't need to come before this zoning board. And I think that, the zoning board should ask the developer to go back to the drawing board and design something that is within the rules of the Village of Spring Valley, and to build something that does not exceed the rules that have been set up. The rules were not set up to be broken in every single situation. The rules were set up if you need to appeal to get a variance because there's some special hardship. There is no special hardship here. It's only self-imposed because they want to make something a little bit bigger so they can make a little bit more money. And there certainly could be a perfectly acceptable building built on this lot that does not exceed the variances, or certainly does not exceed them from a 0.65 to a 0.96. Thank you.
I, Charles Bradford, do solemnly affirm that the testimony I'm about to give is the truth, the best of my ability and knowledge. I have a question. How many of the board members have actually seen this property? Other than the plan that's in front of you, the property and the surrounding area and the potential impact? That's the question. I hope will be answered at some point tonight or this morning. I also would like to encourage the board to do that, to go around in these areas, to get the agendas ahead of time and go and look. Yeah, and that's the problem, that to ask that, it's almost a joke. But Spring Valley and the community is not a joke.
Mr. Bradford, I'm sorry, I did not intend that as a joke. It's just
Okay.
that we have so seldom gotten agendas in advance that it's very.
This is true. I'm aware of that.
You're not notified, so you can't admonish us for not looking if we don't have the necessary information, which.
Well, it's more directed toward, well, it's not directed at the board per se, but it is directed at the village and how the village is currently functioning. If they're understaffed, 15 items, twice a month, it's directed at how it's logistically set up. So if you could get that and go see that, it would be good. If Ray Charles was in this room, he could see. He said, "I see what's happening."
Thank you. Okay. Brian, any closing?
Respectfully, I'll just suggest that number one, an application for a variance is not breaking the rules, it's following the rules. And I'm getting incredibly tired of people who are exercising their rights under law being unfairly and outrageously maligned here as if they're doing something wrong. It is not illegal to apply for a variance. You are not required to show a hardship in order to obtain a variance, and I don't want this board to be misled or brainwashed by the constant sewage of inaccurate and outrageous information which is being spewed here by people who are knee-jerk opposed to absolutely everything that anybody else wants to do unless it's them. So I think you should take those comments with a few helpings of salt. With respect to the lot itself, it is odd-shaped, variance has been minimized, the deductions that drive up the numbers for lot area and for floor area ratio because of code deductions, not because of an actual absence of land or because the structure is actually large. There are mathematical variances because of deductions that your code takes. The building is 65% of the size of the lot, and the lot is more than 1,500 square feet larger than is required under your code. So those are the facts. Politics never seems to end here, but those are the facts.
Thank you.
We just have some correspondence, not much, mercifully. Rockland County Sewer District Number 1, dated January 12, 2018. It's 3 pages, but I'm missing the second page. I'm assuming.
We'll pay the impact fee.
Yeah, yes. You'll comply with the Rockland County Sewer
Yeah,
District.
it's a request for a sewer impact fee, which we will pay.
And did I read Ms. Tolf's yet? We have the Clarkstown Planning Department, January 24, 2018, signed by Gilbert J. Hahn, Chairman, 1 page. And it reads, Clarkstown Planning Board does hereby find the proposed referrals will result in significant overutilization of the properties. These proposals will impact on community character, traffic, water quantity, and quality, drainage, stormwater runoff, and sanitary sewer service.
Clarkstown Planning Board couldn't find Clayton Drive if they got lost.
Kathy Tolf, dated February 26, 2018. And what's the address on this one? 52, right? What's the address?
Clayton.
I don't know, she may not have commented on Clayton. I don't see a comment from Ms. Tolf on 13, so.
Clayton has access to the fire department from all 3 sides.
That's it for correspondence. And you'll comply with, applicant will comply with Rock County Sewer District Number 1's requirements. Lori,
Yeah.
make that a note, please.
No.
That's it for correspondence.
The notice that will comply with the Rockland County
I'm not sure if it was a week.
Sewer District.
All right, is there
I just want to question.
a question?
It's a 2-family house. So, one one family is in the basement, the second family is on.
I have the same plans in front of me, that you do.
The reason I say is because I see a kitchen in down here on the basement, and I don't think the other one is on the first floor. I don't see
Yes, that's correct.
anywhere else, so that means the basement must be the.
The homeowner live 2 floors. That's how it
Yeah.
looks. Kitchen, living room.
Yeah, I don't know, I
I was
don't have,
curious.
I appreciate that, I don't have independent knowledge of the living arrangements beyond what's shown in the architectural.
Just reading what I see here.
I am as well.
Oh, the way it's laid out, first floor, second floor. Okay, any questions from the board? If not, any motions? Motion to close the public hearing?
I think you wanted to talk about screening or something.
Fire sprinkler.
Fine.
Okay, that's okay. Anything else?
Fire sprinkler,
Still okay.
Any fencing? Nobody asked for
it's a
fencing?
dead end, there's nothing there.
Okay.
What?
It's a dead
It's a
end.
bed of block later.
Right.
Okay, that doesn't mean you can have some fencing, you can have some screening of some type, some trees, something to go around.
Well, one side, it's Elm Street and stuff.
There is no existing fence
Right.
on Elm Street, it's the road. Okay? Anything else? Any motions?
I think maybe the rear deck should be maybe moved in the drop. I thought it was encroaching a little bit of the neighbor. But,
We'll just follow the recommendations of the board.
it should be at least 10 feet clearance. I can't tell, it's not measured, but it doesn't give you
Yeah,
the.
more than 10, you have 11.
The rear deck.
Deck looks like 5 feet.
Right here, it doesn't tell you how much. Here it says 20, but here it doesn't say.
I think the code reads you need at least 5 feet.
I think we should have 10.
On the
Especially when it's high up,